ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky now joining me with more. So, Aaron, you've been investigating everything that's taken place to this point. Tell us about this new video now and how it's reshaping the investigation.
I think it's renewing questions, Kira, that we've been asking since the beginning, because the video is important for what you see, but also what you hear. As Marcus points out, there are officers at the Robb Elementary School campus pulling kids through windows. They're running them to safety, and that's an important piece of the story. But there are also, and you hear this emanating from a nearby squad car, the radio traffic, where it appears a dispatcher is trying to tell officers what's going on inside the classroom as 911 operators are learning it from the students who were there, saying that there are classrooms full of victims. They need the police. We know the police were there. 19 officers had gone into the hallway, but they stayed in the hallway. And so one question for investigators is, why did the incident commander not act on the information that the 911 operators were getting?
I think it's fair to say everybody wants to know that, Aaron. And we also know the shooter entered Robb Elementary School at 11:27 a.m. We have the timeline now. 3 police officers get there at 11:35 a.m., but the shooter wasn't actually taken down until 12:50 p.m. That's 77 minutes where 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. Break down this timeline and the scrutiny now that the officers are facing. 77 minutes.
77 excruciating minutes where we know that kids were witnessing the horror that we can only imagine was going on in classrooms 111 and 112. The shooter entered just after crashing his car nearby, the car that he had taken from his grandmother after shooting her, according to the authorities, and then entered the school through an unlocked door, went down a couple of hallways, and remained in these 2 adjoining classrooms, 111 and 112. During that entire 77 minutes, the shooter fired off 315 rounds. More than a third of them, at least, came in the first 4 minutes, according to the authorities. But there were other spurts of gunfire throughout the entire massacre. The authorities mustered to go in. They were repelled by gunfire. Officers remained in the hallway while other officers tried to get kids to safety. At one point, federal agents from Customs and Border Protection and Homeland Security investigations arrived on scene. Some of them raced, law enforcement sources told us, to the scene on foot. And when they finally assembled, they too heard repeated orders, were told, not to go into the classroom, finally getting information from their own superiors that they could do whatever they believed they had to do to try and save lives. And that's the question now for the Justice Department as they begin this review. What decisions were made and why? And if mistakes were made, how can we not repeat them?
Right, and we keep talking about this struggle between federal and local officers on when to actually go into the school. What do we know about these claims? What have we been able to verify?
According to multiple law enforcement sources, there were federal agents that arrived on the scene. Many of them live and work in Uvalde. Some of them had kids who go to that school. Some of them raced to the scene like any parent would. Some of them had heavy equipment, others whatever they could carry. And they joined the other law enforcement officers who were there. They eventually formed up into this tactical team, and the incident commander remained the local Uvalde School District police chief, and they were told the same commands that the others were told. Don't go in. The chief believed that the shooting had stopped and that the kids were no longer in danger. At one point, though, we're told the federal agents called their superiors and asked for authorization to do what they believed in their best judgment they needed to do in order to put this to an end.
And finally, Aaron, the 911 calls that went in. There's this 911 call that alerted dispatch that the shooter had entered the school. A student had made that call. Then there was another student who called 911 also for help. What do we know about those students?
We don't know much. The authorities have been asked about them. It's believed one made it out, thankfully, okay. The real question for the authorities is, was the information that these kids were telling the 911 operators being properly relayed to officers on the ground. We hear from the video we obtained that dispatchers were trying, but whether it made it to the commander making the decisions about whether to send officers in, that's an open question.
Well, it was incredibly brave that those kids even had the nerve to pick up that phone and call. Aaron Katersky, you've been doing such incredible reporting and investigating on this. We appreciate you so much. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Kara.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.